a place of innovation. That is certainly something that we are all here to work towards. On that note, I would like to invite Alderman Vos onto the stage with us. He is part of the Mayoral Committee here for Economic Development and a strong supporter of the innovation space. Alderman Vos. Pleasure.
The sound working? There we go. Thanks. Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks, Leslie. It's always a hard act to follow, but I love playing this video before I come onto stage. It really puts it all together, and if you look at the introduction that Leslie and Caitlin gave us this morning about the theme of growing, you can certainly see that Cape Town is a city that grows in population, innovation, culture, cosmopolitan, and there's so many things that makes our city stand out above the rest. But when it comes to collaboration, and I think Leslie is quite correct, we need to grow the ecosystem together. And so that's what we are really proud of here in Cape Town, is how we connect with other cities around the world, and very importantly in Africa. Cape Town is a proudly African city. We see ourselves as the go-to city in Africa, and therefore we are really proud to be the host for this Global Startup Awards event, and thank you for choosing Cape Town. Now, I would like to then, on behalf of the City of Cape Town, welcome all delegates here to the beautiful mother city. And as you know, Cape Town is known for raking in awards and hundreds of accolades, especially in relation to tourism, travel and trade. But the latest one is a bit of a surprise. We were recently nominated for the capital baby-making city in the world. This is according to a latest study conducted by the Cities of Love. Now, as I can say, Cape Townians are very creative and very competitive. But please allow me then again to thank all the organizers and the delegates for coming down to Cape Town and making the Cape Town your host city for this very important event. I can guarantee you that the city and its people never disappoints, and we continue to work very hard with all our business partners to make Cape Town that go-to city in Africa. And specifically, if you look at those 10 reasons to invest, from study to innovation, aviation, trade, technology, the creative industries, it's important that we continue investing in those sectors that will help us drive demand that makes business sense. And when you look at startups, they might be small companies, but they really are big contributors to economic growth, to innovation, and ultimately employment. And therefore, Cape Town's tech ecosystem really offers a diverse community of companies across the technology value chain. We also have a strong presence of supporting institutions that provide the ease of doing business, because ultimately it is our aim to make Cape Town the easiest place to do business on the African continent. And that's why when we talk about aviation and about trade across boundaries, it's important that we build our route expansion into Africa and that we connect with more cities on the African continent. We have about 20 active incubators and accelerators in the city that play a providing role to businesses in tech support, mentoring, networking opportunities, and also linkages to new markets. Because let's face it, the recovery of the economy now after COVID will lead to a completely different economy, the way we do business, the way we interact and transact with cities, with governments. And when you mentioned earlier today what really frustrates you in this room, I was worried that some will say it's government. And government shouldn't be frustrating business. Government should be enabling business. And there's this thing that we also like to use too often, this phrase of, let's create a conducive environment for businesses to grow. What does it really mean? I actually don't like that theme or that term or that language, because we really need to get down to the detail. What does it mean when we talk about this conducive environment? Plainly said, it's creating the right conditions. Put the conditions for growth in place. You've seen there on the video, it's about the tech ecosystem, the fiber rollout, so that businesses find it compelling to invest in your city, big and small. so that those businesses can get on with doing business, and so that we can make life easier for entrepreneurs, startups, so that they can do business with big companies and with one another. And so that's why in the city we have really supported this new notion of co-working spaces. We have about 25 co-working spaces, which is really a breeding ground for innovation and creativity. The mother city is also very proud to be able to be working with these specialized business partners. We call them the special purpose vehicles, so that we can focus on those high growth industries that will give us a good return on our investment. From the creative industries, film, tourism, hospitality, technology, clothing and textiles, design, fashion, because those things are really, really important to give the city even more global attention and local spectator value, so that we get more companies in Cape Town and in South Africa and on the continent connecting with one another in those creative industries. And also making sure that we've got the right skills pipelines, so that we're not simply training for training's sake, but that we are training for those high growth sectors. And so through these special purpose vehicles, we are training more Cape Townians now than ever before for the tech companies, small and big, for the fashion, for the clothing and textile, for business process outsourcing, those call centers, so that we can really create skills pipelines that will prepare Cape Townians for those future jobs that will come as a result of more investment and for more startups to get into the business ecosystem and to do more business, so that when you grow, you ultimately employ more people, but that the skills will suit those new markets that will emerge. And so therefore, we are also proud that we've got 4 leading universities in Cape Town, namely the University of Cape Town, the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, the University of the Western Cape, and a little further afield, the Stellenbosch University. We also have 3 TVETs and also several high-quality coding academies in the city that also contributes to our skill base. And so when we talk about the technology ecosystem, we have a very, very special business partner called the Cape Innovation and Technology Initiative. It's Africa's oldest tech incubator. Africa's oldest tech incubator. But I've heard now that they want to sound much more tech savvy, and they want to be referred to as the most experienced tech incubator on the African continent. And so we have a very special partnership with the Cape IT Initiative because of the work that they do in the digital economy. And it's again preparing Cape Townians, young people, for those future jobs, investing in skills that will drive demand, that will ultimately make business sense. And therefore we've turned out more than 2,000 businesses and supported over 3,000 entrepreneurs since the inception of the Cape IT Initiative Partnership. We also run a Women in Business program that focuses on technology, the tools of the trade, so that we can support women-led businesses with the right type of business savvy, the tech support, so that their businesses can grow, so that they can connect with other businesses in the ecosystem. And that's why these incubators are really, really important. We've got an incubator in Kailicha, we have an incubator in the Woodstock area. Those bandwidth barns are really amazing breeding grounds for more startups that will scale up and that will do more good for the economy and ultimately employ more people. And also for the second year in a row, the city has been ranked among the top startup for tech ecosystems here in Africa. Now, it's a wonderful accolade, but what does it really mean when we talk business? And that's why when we start the panel discussion later on and when we do the networking, that's really where we get down into the detail. Because it's great to be boasting about accolades, especially the latest one, which is also by a big surprise, but in any case, but those accolades really need to connect with people. And later this week, we'll be celebrating Youth Day. And if we look at the unemployment numbers in our country, especially under the young people, it's really, really a big worry. It should be a big worry for all governments around the world, because what happens here on the African continent really impacts other markets in Europe, South America, North America, the East. I've just returned from a trade mission to Turkey and Europe, where we've looked at more trade opportunities between our cities, our governments, and business. And the one thing that comes up the whole time is the investment that we make into young people, into startups, entrepreneurs. And those cities really want to know, what are you doing? Before you can even start talking business. They want to know, what is the investment that you're making in entrepreneurs, making life easier for them to get on with doing business. And for me, it was an important lesson from this last trade mission. We've just returned earlier this week. And it was an important lesson because the world has changed. The way we are doing business across borders, the way we connect with other cities, and these are the things that we need to take special attention of, because it's not going to be business as usual. And so when we have a gathering like this, coming together where we can celebrate the work that you are doing as startups, the way you connect, the way you build the ecosystem, it's an important marker. But what we do behind the scenes are even more important, because those are the transactions, the deals that make me excited about the future of our economy, so that we can get to those double-digit growth. And so certainly when we look about talk about skills, jobs, and now with Youth Day approaching, those are the things that we really need to be talking about. How do we get more young people into these ecosystems? And so talking about Africa, for me it's an important opportunity to showcase to the world that we are serious about connecting with other cities. Cape Town has just signed a new trade deal with Nairobi. And as you know, Nairobi is also a city that's big on tech, big on financial services, production. And so those are the type of cities that we need to go and hunt, form partnerships, get those route expansions, and get trade and travel happening, so that we can really make our cities breeding grounds for innovation and creativity. And so I want to again say to the organizers, thanks for doing the work that you are doing. Caitlin, Loud-Haler, and the team, it's really great that we can be talking more tech in our cities, because if we're going to talk about foreign direct investment, if we're going to talk about landing more flights, exporting more goods to the rest of the world, those things happen through technology. They happen through innovation. And specifically when we look at the research, the data that drives the policymakers, like you've mentioned, the policymakers in the room for corporates and for government, let's use the research and the data and the technology that exists to get us to those type of decisions that will make business sense. And I say it over and over, we must stop taking decisions that make government sense, and we need to take more decisions that make business sense. Because if your businesses do well, you will produce more and you will employ more. And that's what really is the bottom line for us as the City of Cape Town, being in this conversation and being part of this event here today. So to all the participants, we wish you well with a great conference. We trust that those conversations will be productive, innovative, and that you'll come up with some great solutions. I'm sure you do have many of them already lined up, and that the conversation is open and honest, and that the places where we need to do more, tell us, because it is part of the Ease of Doing Business program that the City of Cape Town has adopted. That's why my department is called Economic Growth and not Economic Development or Economic Affairs, because then it's just going to be talking development and having affairs the whole day, but instead it's economic growth. And that's why the theme of growth, you'll see, comes strongly out of the way that we are positioning Cape Town as that go-to city. Let's grow our innovation, let's grow our tech ecosystem, and let's just grow in a way that is sustainable and responsible and resilient, because there will be many more shocks and trends coming our way. COVID was a shock to the system. Day zero was a shock to the system. And there'll be many more shocks coming. Man-made, natural, and also those trends. So when those trends come our way, let's look at those trends and let's also become trend setters. And that's also a big outcome that I'm hoping for this conference, that you'll be giving us more trends to come up with in our own midst, instead of just following others' trends. But on those words, I wish you well, Kaylin and Leslie, and to all the participants, thanks again, and Cape Town gives you a warm welcome, The weather, of course, is something that is not so warm out there, but you've come into the city of storms, and we'll be weathering these storms. But this is just one of those things that makes us much more stronger as a proudly African city, so that we can do business more proudly. Thank you very much.